I want to appreciate Parley, this playwriting group that I get to be part of. The experience of writing tends to be an isolated experience, something that we all do sort of on our own. So the chance to have people who give thoughtful and useful and caring feedback to the work makes it collaborative in a way that I really, really love. And then being able to come in and work with the actors that we're working with and with Rebecca as a director, and Nell, who's doing sound, and Celeste, who's doing lights, and Hannah, who did production support, and Elizabeth, who's at the front. And just these are writers. So there's not a professional sound person on sound tonight. These are all the writers that I work with, and they give their time to bring this piece forward. And I feel incredibly lucky to be part of that group of writers, and appreciate all of you coming out. There's no venue for new work like this that I've ever seen. So that's my first thing, is thank you to Parley, and I'm really humbled by the chance to be part of that. The second thing I want to say, I specifically want to give a shout out to my mom, who's not here, but she'll see the video. Hi, Mom. My mom and I had this, yes, big hand for my mom. Very appropriate. She's going to cry when she watches the video at what just happened, but that's okay. It's a good thing. So my mom and I got this really funny conversation about 55 plus retirement communities in Florida, and she lives in a small community in Florida. This play is not based on my mother at all. Please. She's nowhere in the Mom, you are not in this show. Nowhere in the show. But there's so much that felt important to tell about the story of these characters and in this place, and I had a blast writing it, and I am glad you were here, and I hope that you enjoy No Strings Attached. Thank you.
No Strings Attached by Brisendine.
It's Wednesday in February in a Florida retirement community called Silver Springs. Silver Springs is self-contained with grocery stores, coffee shops, bars, and restaurants all on the property, and residents get around primarily in golf carts.
Scene 1, 7 a.m. Emily,
Beatrice, and Devorah
are sitting at the coffee shop playing cards.
You girls are sharks, I swear.
You're not that far behind, Bea.
No, you always say that when you're winning, Emily.
I don't think I am. Devorah's keeping score, not me, and I think she's winning.
Yep, I'm winning. Suck it, ladies.
Oh, lovely. Do you kiss your grandkids with that mouth?
You only get like this when you're losing.
Not winning is not the same as losing.
It's exactly the same. I'm winning and you two are losing.
Where's Grace? She can usually be counted on to take a hand or two.
I haven't seen her since the Mamma Mia sing-along last night.
Oh, you went to that? Oh, I wanted to go. It sounded like fun. But Mother was having a rough night, so I stayed in with her.
It was fun if you like that sort of thing, which I do.
Grace and I normally watch Jeopardy together on Tuesdays, but I didn't hear from her yesterday at all.
That seems surprising. I thought you two never missed a chance to listen to Alex Trebek answer inane questions.
Well, normally we don't. And I was a little worried, I admit.
Well, Grace was at the sing-along last night, at least for a short while. Although I didn't see her leave.
I believe I did.
Maybe that's why she was late. She was up singing and slept in a bit. Although it's unlike her not to have called me yesterday if she wasn't coming over.
No, I'm not sure I know what's like her and what's not these days. She seems to have had some trouble adjusting to her life since Frank died.
You know, I saw her crying at the mailboxes last month.
At the mailboxes?
Mm-hmm. She was clutching a bunch of mail in one hand, covering her face with the other. I wasn't close enough to hear, but it looked like her shoulders were shaking. I started walking to her to see how she was, but she wiped her face and got in the cart before I could get there. I didn't ask her when I saw her later. Maybe I should have.
I wonder if she got something in the mail that reminded her of Frank.
Probably. You know, Jason passed. When Jason passed, the strangest things would set me off on a crying jag.
I don't think Grace and Frank were all that happy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You take a thorn out of your foot after 50 years and you're sure you'll be happy the pain has stopped? But sometimes you just miss the limp.
That is deep. Is that a Jewish thing?
Probably. Most things are.
Well, I think she'll be fine. She just needs time. Mm-hmm. We all do after something like that. I can't imagine what I'll do with my life when Mother passes. I can understand Grace being a little discombobulated.
From what I saw last night, she appears to be getting a handle on it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well,
Morning, girls. I'm sorry to be late.
Well,
How many hands behind am I?
There you are. Devorah's taking our butter and egg money. You're lucky to be late. We can deal you in a hand.
Shouldn't we just start over?
No.
Devorah's winning and won't give up her lead easily.
No problem. Just deal me in and we'll see if I can pull off a miraculous win, even being a couple of hands behind.
It would be polite to start over,
It
Devorah.
would be polite to be on time.
No starting over. It's my fault. Plus, Devorah never wins. What? I won't be the one to stand in the way of a miracle, although I am feeling lucky today, so I won't promise you anything about letting you win.
A miracle. Thanks for that. You're chipper this morning.
No, what's not to be chipper about? It's a beautiful morning.
Yeah, I could use some gloom for contrast. Florida is relentless.
You've lived here forever. How are you not used to it?
I am, but that doesn't stop me from wishing for more.
I'm glad you're feeling in a good mood. I missed you last night.
Last night? What was... Oh, no. Oh, it was Jeopardy night, and I completely forgot. Emily, I am so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sure the sing-along was fun. But I'm surprised you forgot. Do you have a lot on your mind lately?
Oh, some things, but nothing worth sharing.
All right, ladies. Come on, I'm dealing the next hand, so tally up your points, and there's no starting over.
Fine, then.
Well, since you missed Jeopardy, did you at least enjoy the Mamma Mia sing-along
Oh,
last night?
I did. It was fun. I knew all the words to those songs. I was so surprised what was lodged in my memory once I blew the cobwebs off. Dancing Queen.
When I taught Hebrew school, the students used to listen to that music, but I could never get a hang of disco. What?
I'm trying to picture you disco dancing, and I just can't.
Well, it was never the dancing I couldn't handle. It was the sequence.
That's a lovely blouse you're wearing this morning, Grace.
It is. I love that blouse on you.
Thank you, girls. It's become a favorite.
Gem tones look good on you. I couldn't wear that color. I'd look like a corpse, but I knew it works.
Where'd you get it?
I think Kohl's or Marshall's. I'm not sure.
Browns, reds, earth tones, those are the colors I wear.
I'm not sure I've seen this one before. Is it new?
Not really. A few weeks old, maybe.
Well, it's lovely.
Nope, I definitely can't wear that shade. I thought that when you wore it last night, too.
What?
You heard me last night. That's the same blouse you had on last night.
Is it? I was running late. I must have just grabbed the first thing I could reach this morning without paying attention.
Devorah, is there something you'd like to say?
Not me.
You're no one's fashion police now.
Not policing, just noticing. It looked lovely, that blouse, while you were queen of the dance floor.
I think the phrase you're looking for is dancing queen.
I had a few dances, so what?
Well, I had a few dances, too, but I did not have the night you had.
Oh, I knew I should have gone to that damn sing-along. What did I miss?
Devorah wants me to say that I didn't go home last night.
What?
You didn't?
Good for you!
Why are you congratulating her, Grace? What is this about?
If you had a date last night, I say it is about time. Frank's been dead long enough. Who was it?
I'm not talking about it just yet.
No, was it a proper date, or did you just follow someone home?
That is none of your business, and it doesn't matter.
It should matter. There is a bit of an epidemic running around this place.
An epidemic? What do you mean?
I'm talking about STDs. Sexually transmitted diseases.
Where are you hearing about this?
I hear things, and yesterday I heard an association board member saying that they need to have a doctor come and talk to us about STDs because we've had an outbreak.
An outbreak? How in the world is that happening?
I think you can figure out how it's happening.
Well, yes, of course, but I just find it so unlikely.
Why is that? We've got 24,000 people here, most of whom don't work and have plenty of money. That, and then the men just kicking off before we do, and the few widowers we have are shooting fish in a barrel.
That's a grim image, speaking as one of the fish.
Well, it's true. We're all the fish. I watched Fred Durham tooling around on his golf cart last week with a bright green loofah on the roof. I swear he almost hit the curb while he was busy showing off his new teeth that his wife's money paid for.
A loofah? Like from the shower? What was that about?
I just heard about this. People who are available will hang a colored loofah from their golf cart rear view.
It's the swingers code. So other swingers know that Fred was on the prowl.
Oh my, there's a code?
Of course there's a code. Half the leering Louis in those golf carts have left their wives at home watching Fox News so they can cruise the streets and ogle women.
That's scandalous. Where does one find a bright green loofah? Mine are always sort of tan colored.
I heard the clever manager at Walgreens has cornered the market. Mrs. Jorgensen told me that you can't find a neon-colored loofah anywhere south of the Jersey Shore.
I can never tell if you're joking or not.
I'm probably not. Those loofah cowboys are lecherous trolls, except maybe for that Clint Adams. I like the cut of his jib.
Well, I, for one, don't know what you're talking about. I'm too busy to notice all that foolishness.
Too busy? I've seen the looks you give Clint.
No, I've had enough boyfriends in my life. I'm not buying what Clint Adams is selling.
There's a lot of talk about the number of boyfriends you've had in your life.
I regret nothing.
Yeah.
My life has been a blessing.
Is that the best use of the word blessing?
As one who's been blessed, I can tell you that it is.
Repeatedly blessed to hear the stories.
People in this community gossip too much.
Oh, I don't care. If I had married after John died and then fooled around on my husband, people would gossip less than they do about me remaining single and having fun for a few years. I'll let the gossips have their day. I can recognize jealousy when I see it.
I thought John died years ago.
He did. Well, okay, a few years, maybe a few decades. I still don't care about the gossips like Mrs. Jorgensen. Grace, where are you hearing about the loofah code?
Well, in fact, Mrs. Jorgensen told me about this code. I tell you, it was like seeing a whole new world.
Somewhat sordid world, I'd say.
Predictable.
It doesn't seem sordid at all. Everyone's a consenting adult, and instead of coming on to anyone they meet, these men are just putting a colored loofah on their rear view. It's so civilized. I mean, I've walked around this community for years, and I've never seen this entire other community.
I don't know how you could have missed it. All those widows buying up colored loofahs like they were competing for a bouquet at a wedding.
Is it just green ones?
No, the different colors mean different things. Green is for someone who wants to fool around with someone else. Yellow is for a couple looking for a third. And red is for a couple looking for another couple.
I'd have a hard time seeing the yellow in all this bright sun.
Well, it does seem like a more contrasting color could have been chosen.
Who makes these rules? I'm sure there's no committee.
Well, I think people just figure it out.
Very democratic.
I've also heard a little bit about this NSA sex thing. Have any of you?
NSA sex? What is that, some Kama Sutra thing from China?
It stands for no strings attached, and it's just sex for fun.
What does that mean?
It means sex is supposed to be fun. But we tend to be a little prudish and pretend that it's just for making babies.
I'm sold. I'll tell you, no one is fallen in love, no one has to make breakfast in the morning, and no raising kids just to get laid.
Get laid? Good Lord, it's the 70s again.
Grace, who are you talking to about no strings attached sex?
Well, I'll admit that Clint Adams caught me leaving the pool house one day, and I asked him about his loofah.
Clint Adams.
Yes. And it was fun. It was so much fun. We went back to his house and had some lunch and well, spent the afternoon together. And then I went home and had a nice evening by myself. I've run into him a few times since then, and it's quite cordial. Not at all awkward.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
The thank you goes to the makers of Viagra.
That's the truth.
And these strings are supposed to be what ties people down, like commitments?
Yeah, that's it. No strings attached. Sex without commitment, just for fun.
Yes, but Clint Adams.
Oh. People love the idea of something good that comes without a price. It was true in the 70s and it's true now. But if it's any good, the strings are all there.
Oh.
You're just ignoring them.
You might be right, Devorah, but maybe it's not as easy as it sounds, but it's better than staying in and watching television.
I thought you liked Jeopardy.
Oh, I didn't mean our Jeopardy night. I just meant in general there is nothing wrong with old folks having a sex life.
Well, frankly, I'm appalled. Sex is the province of a marriage bed and not something to be treated like shuffleboard.
If that were true, then only married people would be having sex, and we all know that is not how it goes.
Everybody doing a bad thing doesn't make it a good thing.
A bad thing? What's bad? Sex is a part of life. It's where we all came from. And for the record, even bad sex is better than no sex.
I think whether it's bad or good depends on the participants and their relative experience.
I won't be made fun of. I know the difference between right and wrong.
Well, your version of right and wrong isn't necessarily everyone else's.
Certainly not everyone else in this community.
I read my Bible. The rules are clear.
Come on, Emily. The rules in the Bible contradict each other all over the place. I'm a good Jew, and even I know most of the contradictions in the New Testament.
Besides, I'm not sure I remember the last time you went to church. Since when are you reading the Bible for guidance?
Well, it's been a long time, I'll admit. But it's still the foundation of living a right life.
Oh, religion before 9 a.m. We are breaking some new ground here. Oh. But look, I'm not sure the Bible's the right argument. Grace is free to live her life, and I, for one, say more power to her.
Thank you.
I know you better than this. You're better than these string sex people, or whatever it was you said.
I'm not sure I like your implication.
I'm a grown woman. My daughter is a grown woman. My husband, rest his soul, was a jackass and is dead. But I stayed faithful to that jackass until long after he died, and there isn't anyone to be faithful to anymore. So why shouldn't I have some fun?
Well, I'm worried about you.
Oh.
And speaking of your daughter, what does Jane think about all this newfound freedom? You used to talk all the time.
Oh, heavens. I am not telling Jane about my life these days. You know, I wanted to raise her with an appreciation of sex, but Frank wouldn't have it. For a man who whored around as much as he did, you'd think he'd have a more open mind about sex. But he was as closed-minded as a priest with a guilty conscience.
So, you've decided that Frank stepping out on you makes it okay for you to do the same.
There is a difference. Frank had affairs, multiple ones as far as I know, while we were married. I'm a single woman with no commitments, so don't compare me to my cheating husband.
Oh, she didn't mean anything by it, Gracie. Emily likes being everyone's conscience every now and again.
I'm sorry. You're right. I went too far. I just think it's irresponsible and worrisome.
It's okay. I know your heart is in the right place.
You mentioned once that Frank had been unfaithful, but I didn't realize it was with more than one woman. Oh, that must have been horrible.
I don't know the details of all of Frank's indiscretions, but it went on for a long time, I think.
Well, they say the wife is the last to know.
Do they? I thought the saying was the wife always knows but chooses to ignore it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's easy to say the signs should have been obvious, and maybe they were. I had a daughter to raise and always figured that things would work themselves out.
And they did. Jane is a smart, beautiful, accomplished woman. You should be proud.
I am. She can be a bit bossy. But I guess that's to be expected. She was her father's daughter in so many ways.
I'm sorry that Frank cheated so much. I know how difficult that can be.
Emily, I didn't think you'd ever been married.
No, I haven't been, but someone doesn't get 60-odd years on this planet and not learn some things.
Well, I don't think it's fair to judge someone in a situation you've never been in.
You can think that all you want, Beatrice, but even when I wanted for money in my life, I still knew robbing a bank was wrong.
You think robbing a bank and having sex are in the same category. I start to see why you were never married.
Make all the gutter jokes you want. I'm comfortable with who I am. And you're no expert on being married, Bea.
I had a husband for 4 wonderful years. And I didn't feel the need for another one after he died. Although not for lack of opportunities. I don't think I or my kids suffered.
Okay. Now, you two stop it. None of these husbands or kids are here, so let's not argue.
You're right. Emily, I'm sorry I picked at you.
Oh, that's fine. I don't bruise all that easily. But I do think you should talk to Jane. She's got a good head on her shoulders.
About no strings attached sex? I don't think so. She doesn't want to hear about her mommy having sex. Besides, I'm fine. I told you that.
Look, I believe in your right to your life. Trust me. But having family to talk to can be a relief sometimes. I mean, my boys are a gift. Although hardly boys anymore. Michael is 40 years old now.
Well, they never stop being kids, no matter how old they get. Mine hate that, but it's still true.
Yeah, you might be right. I should talk more to Jane. But, you know, she needs time to mourn her asshole of a father. So I've been giving her some space. Maybe I'll call her after tomorrow.
Why after tomorrow?
I just have too much to do and Jane can wait.
What? Does she know about Frank's affairs?
I'm not sure. She's perceptive, but no one wants to think ill of their parents. She may also have turned the other way rather than saying anything.
I doubt it. Kids don't have as much of a greater need to keep boats from rocking as their parents do.
Maybe, but we never talked about it.
That might be a way into the conversation about your current life choices.
Life choices? You make it sound like I've joined a cult.
Well, with a code that involves colored bath scrubbies, it may as well be exactly that.
That is just shameful.
What?
Those loofahs! Those men have too much time on their hands. Grace, I hope you're not going to get a loofah for your golf cart.
Oh, we could speed things up with the other Adamses. And Grace could do worse than play that game. I bet she'd outfox all those men who think they're so clever.
There are no bath products heading outside of my house, let alone on my golf cart.
I just don't think it looks right as
The
all.
loofahs?
No, this having relations with no strings.
Well, I don't care how it looks. It's my life and nobody's getting hurt.
No one that you know about.
What is that supposed to mean?
Takes two to tango, Grace. Yours isn't the only life in this particular golf cart.
I thought you weren't going to put anything in your golf cart.
You know, I am tired of this third degree. I gotta go.
Scene 2, 10 a.m., outside the community center.
Hi.
Are you still upset with me from earlier?
No. I know you only mean well. Although you could try being a little less harsh.
You're right. That's just my way, but that's no excuse. I'll try to be nicer when telling you that you're messing up your life.
Well, that's all I could ever ask. What's this talk called, anyway?
Don't forget about Alzheimer's.
Who comes up with these names?
Yeah, they're trying to make a dark subject a little lighter. I should practice that.
Oh, well, you won't hear me arguing.
I'm not sure what we can learn here that will make a difference. If I get Alzheimer's, I'm planning to repay my kids for their toddler years.
Oh, well, I hope you have it in your will that they can't put you in a home then.
Good thinking. I wouldn't want them to get off easy.
Who's giving the talk?
Oh, a Dr. Kaplan from Minnesota who just retired and moved into one of those water view condo units.
The ones they just finished? Mm-hmm. I heard they have mold.
I heard mold, and I heard ants as well.
Oh, I keep hearing it's Florida and everybody has ants. A doctor just buying one of those condos? He mustn't have been very successful.
Oh, contraire, mon frere, he secured himself the penthouse.
Oh, there's a penthouse?
Apparently the whole top floor. I saw him at the shuffleboard finals, and he couldn't stop talking about how much better the view was from the 15th floor than the 14th floor.
Typical. And he's some sort of specialist on Alzheimer's?
Yeah, he wrote a book and everything.
Oh, and why do I suspect it will be for sale?
No doubt. Apparently he's wanting to make his big splash by showing off a little.
Well, even so, I think it's important that we know the warning signs of Alzheimer's. I mean, anything could happen. Mm-hmm. Although, I hope this session doesn't go long. I've got to get busy.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing, just chores.
Well, since you mentioned things that aren't fun, I overheard another argument today.
You have to stop listening in on people's private conversations.
It's not private if I can hear it all the way down the street.
It most certainly is. Maybe even more than usual. You're supposed to walk past and pretend you didn't hear anything.
Yeah, you can do that if you want. I'm listening. I want to know everything I can about the people in this community. It makes me a better neighbor.
And how do you figure that?
I'm much better prepared to offer people a helping hand or a shoulder to cry on. I know what people need.
People can tell you what they need without listening in on their private conversations.
If they want a private conversation, they shouldn't live in a manufactured home with paper-thin walls. That or lower their voices.
Well, it seems like a flimsy excuse for eavesdropping.
Yeah, just as flimsy as the walls in these trailers.
I don't live in a trailer.
No. Did you pay property taxes on your house this year?
No. Frank used to take care of all that. I'm not sure when they'll come due.
Oh, they won't. Not like you think. You'll get a notice to register your house the same way you register your car. It's a trailer.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not. No amount of landscaping or lattice work makes this anything but a trumped-up trailer park. Suddenly, eavesdropping doesn't sound so terrible, does it?
Well, it doesn't seem right, but since the harm's already done. What did you hear?
Well, I knew you'd want to know. I wasn't able to hear the beginning, but it appears that the Martins are having some marital troubles.
Elwood and Eleanor? Oh, how do you know? What did they say?
Well, mostly I heard Eleanor, and she was hot. It appears that Elwood has been making himself available to some of the local widows for some, how shall we say, advanced consolation.
What exactly did you hear? Anyone's name?
Oh, I didn't, but to hear Eleanor's yelling, Elwood has been keeping company with another woman or two, and people are starting to talk. I gather she found some incriminating evidence when she got back from visiting her kids today.
Another woman or two?
Uh-huh.
I can't believe Elwood is going around with multiple women in this community. That's preposterous.
Well, Eleanor thought it was more than one, but I'm not sure. What have you heard?
Me? Oh, I haven't heard a thing. You're usually the one that overhears things.
True, but one never knows what the grapevine is talking about, and this promises to be prime news if Mrs. Jorgensen catches wind of it.
Oh, I don't want to be all up in other people's business like that. It's mean-spirited.
Oh, you mean like we are now?
No, this is different. We're just worried about them.
Of course. It's different for us.
What else did you hear? Any specifics?
Well, I didn't hear much, although I believe there's a vase that didn't survive the conversation.
Oh, I hope it wasn't that pretty blue one.
You're familiar with the blue vase in the Martins' house?
Of course. I've seen it at their Easter open house. We all have.
Of course, that's it.
Well, I'm sorry for Elwood and Eleanor. I hope they're able to work it out. I just realized I can't stay for the talk, though. I need to go home.
Well, hello and goodbye. I thought you were staying for this Alzheimer's thing.
I forgot how much I have to do today. I'm behind on my chores. I need to get going.
Isn't forgetting the things, what this Alzheimer's talk is all about?
Oh, the good Dr. Kaplan will also have a lot to say about kale, I heard.
Oh, well, I still can't bring myself to eat kale. So it would be wasted on me anyway. Bye, girls.
Yeah.
Devorah, I don't think you should be talking about what you heard about Elwood and Eleanor.
We'll see you later.
Aren't you staying?
Oh, no, I gotta go.
What's going on with Elwood and Eleanor?
What do you think?
Oh, Elwood is fooling around.
Why, Beatrice, I thought you were above all this grapevine talk.
Well, one can't help but hear a comment or two at the mailboxes.
I refuse to engage in this gossip.
It's not gossip if it's true. I just know what I heard.
What did you hear?
Are you listening at people's walls
I
again?
most certainly am not. However, I walked down the sidewalk. It's possible I might have my hearing aids turned up.
And
I heard Eleanor and Elwood fighting, and apparently Elwood hasn't been keeping his Johnson in his pants.
Oh, my. Do you have to be so crude?
I call it as I hear it.
so what? Another man in this den of iniquity is fooling around on his wife. Marriage is overrated anyway.
Not just fooling around with Grace.
With Grace?
How do you know that?
Well, as I said, I call it as I hear it, although I didn't mention that part to Grace.
I won't believe it. Grace knows better than get involved with a married man.
I'm not sure she does. She did go off in quite a hurry when I told her that I had heard Eleanor yelling at Elwood about his affair.
What is this? Matlock? You condemned her based on an overheard conversation and not wanting to attend an Alzheimer's workshop.
Condemn is your word.
Well, I won't believe it until I talk to her. Really, this is too much.
So here's the question. If it's true, what do we do?
Do?
Yes, do. What do we as our friends do for her if she's involved with a married man?
Yes, I like this more than all this accusing and talk of condemning. We need to find a way to help.
We're speaking of her like she's a mental case. Grace is living her life by her own rules, and she has that right. She's earned it, damn it.
Oh, yes, but this, an affair with a married man, that's a road too far.
It's not too far. We don't know the circumstances. We don't know what's going on between she and Elwood, if anything, or what's going on with Elwood and Eleanor. Let's not jump to conclusions.
Okay, everyone, Dr. Kaplan is ready to get started. Come take your seats.
Oh, I'm going in. I want to learn as much as I can before Alzheimer's makes me forget. Hopefully they'll provide notes and note paper so we can write things down for future references.
I would like to talk to you more about this if you have time today. I am worried about Grace.
Well, I was thinking of going to today's workout in the exercise room. Let's meet there at 2.
My doctor told me I need to get more exercise. I'll see you there.
Okay, everyone, Dr. Kaplan is ready to get started. Come take your
It's my
seats.
pleasure to be talking with you today. Let's start with a question. By a show of hands, who among you has made a questionable decision ever in their lives? Thanks. That questionable decision has gotten more common It's difficult sometimes to see the difference between making poor decisions and Alzheimer's disease. Today, we're going to talk about some of the differences and some of the telltale signs of Alzheimer's disease.
Scene 3, 2 p.m. in the workout room. Good heavens, but that's colorful.
They're yoga pants. They're what women wear to work out.
Yeah, so are my clothes, but the colors in mine exist in nature.
They're leopard print. They're leopard print. That's from nature.
Yeah, and all those colors. Oh, that leopard would have had a hard time sneaking up on a gazelle. They're a little form-fitting. Maybe you could throw on a shawl or something.
The girl at Walmart told me that yoga pants are what people are wearing to work out these days, so I got some. Apparently bright colors are all the rage.
Yeah, rage would be the word. Is this yoga? Oh, I thought we were here for Pilates.
Yoga, Pilates, whatever. I can never tell the difference.
One has machines.
And the music seems more upbeat with Pilates.
Oh, I think yoga's Tuesday.
Well, this is Wednesday, so it must be Pilates. But who cares? It gets me away from Mother for an hour. Even though I swear that new 8-year-old instructor has it out for me.
There's a new 8-year-old? Oh, I haven't been to any of these classes in a few weeks.
You know the one, Sasha, or Swisha, or something like that. Her grandmother lives over on Poinsettia and convinced her that a bunch of limber old women was a good idea.
Well, as you say, you're away from your mother for an hour, and a little exercise won't hurt either of us. Although I think we're still early. I think Swish is still finishing up that other class.
That's okay. I wanted to talk first.
Don't worry about Grace. She's a big girl. She deserves a little fun.
A little fooling around with a married man? That's not fun. That's dangerous in this community.
Is your problem that she's fooling around or that people are gossiping about it? Because the gossips aren't her problem.
My problem is both. Why give the gossips something so sordid to talk about?
Well, now, it's easy to criticize someone for something you don't understand.
Don't understand. You think because I've never been married that I don't know what it is to be in love? That I've never experienced desire?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Being in love and feeling desire don't count if you've never made love with a man before.
Beatrice?
Well, do you deny it?
What I deny is that this is any of your business at all. I'm not about to engage in talk about my past with you today.
Oh, honey, that's exactly my point. Do you have a past?
There are other types of life than the ones where you're jumping under the sheets with every Tom, Dick, or Harry who comes your way.
I'm not taking that bait. My life is an open book, and I don't regret any of my choices. I hope you don't regret any of yours.
What exactly are you implying?
Oh, my friend, I'm implying that you have been a devoted and selfless daughter, and you've looked after your mother for many long years, to the detriment of your own personal life, some would say.
Nonsense. Mother is my personal life. She has led a remarkable life, and getting to remember it with her is a gift.
Which is exactly my point. You should be remembering your own life, not your mother's.
What do you mean?
I mean, well, you should get to know some of the single men in this community a little better.
I know these men as well as I need to, and I'll remind you, we're not talking about me here, we're talking about Grace.
Yeah, we're talking about what Grace is doing that you're not doing, namely having sex.
My personal life is not yours to criticize, Beatrice. I know that you think you know everything, and anybody who doesn't live like you is doing it wrong, but my life is just fine.
Okay. I'll grant you that I can be a little one-sided. But I don't gossip. And I don't like the gossips going after Grace. And by the way, I don't like you taking their side.
Grace is my best friend. I'm always on her side. I'm just trying to keep this from getting out of hand, if that's even possible at this point.
Oh, it's not all that bad. A few people flapping their lips is all.
It is that bad. These people, they had jobs and children to raise, and now all they have is peering in their neighbors' windows.
You watch too much CNN. No one in this park can see well enough to be an effective peeping Tom.
I don't think CNN does peeping Toms. That's Fox.
It doesn't matter. Gossips or not, I'm not going to judge Grace for having a little fun. And you shouldn't either. What is it the Indians say? Don't judge someone until you've walked a mile in his sandals, or...
I think it's moccasins.
Oh, well, whatever. They're basically sandals. But you get my drift. It's easy to judge someone we don't understand. I don't think Grace's marriage was all that great.
Well, that's her fault, isn't it? If the marriage wasn't that good, she should have gotten out. Simple.
Oh, honey. I know it seems simple, but I don't think that you can understand the sacrifices that have to be made in a marriage.
Oh, sure, like you know. You were married for 4 years, 50 years ago.
That was enough. Grace did what she had to in her marriage, and now she gets to cut loose a little. Heaven knows I did after John died.
There are some gossips who say you haven't stopped yet.
Well, I haven't, and why should I? We're not long for this earth. Why shouldn't we have a good time? And what about you?
What about me?
Well, you're still an attractive woman. There are men in this community who would love to date you. There's no need to even talk about sex.
I know I'm still attractive. Do you think I've lacked for offers in this community? Or in my life, for that matter?
I don't know what to think. Just what I see.
This is Mother. Told you she was a looker. I get my looks from her, for which I am grateful. I love that picture of her. She was just 25.
She is beautiful. And you favor her. I hadn't seen the similarity before, but if I didn't know it, I would think this was your daughter. Is this your father?
Yes.
How long has he been gone?
What do you mean?
Passed away? I just assumed your father had passed away some time ago, leaving you to care for your mother.
I'm sure he's dead by now. He was older than Mother. Although I don't really know. I haven't seen him since I was very young.
Oh. I'm sorry. I didn't know that he left you two. That must have been hard.
I don't tell you this to garner sympathy, Bee, so once I've said what I have to say, I ask that you let it lie. Do you promise?
Of course. What is it?
My father was not a nice man. He abused me when I was a little girl and left me unable to have children. Mother drove him away and took in neighbor's laundry so she could pay the rent and raise me herself.
Oh, Emily.
No, stop that. I won't have you pitying me. Mother was a laundress long enough to put herself through school to be a nurse so she could provide for us. I was never willing to tell someone why I couldn't give him children, so I stayed with Mother. I owe her everything, you see.
I can see why you're so devoted to her. Does Grace know this?
No, she does not, and I don't want her to. I am trusting you with this, Bee, because I want no more conversations about how I am missing something. The die is cast, and I wouldn't trade my life with Mother for anything.
I'm sorry, Emily. It was inconsiderate of me, and I hope you'll forgive me.
Of course. You meant no harm. And I trust you not to give any of the town gossips, including our dear friend Devorah, any of this to chew on. You can tend to see the world only through your own eyes, and that can mislead.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Grace making hay with Elwood.
Well, we're talking about a lot, I guess. Guess who I just saw?
Who?
Eleanor Martin.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Oh, it's not. Grace and Elwood's extracurricular activities have gone public.
Gone public? Oh, God, these people. What happened?
Well, apparently, Eleanor heard from Mrs. Jorgensen that she saw Grace and Elwood leave the sing-along together. Of course, Mrs. Jorgensen added up 1 and 1, which she loves to do, and she couldn't wait to come and tell Eleanor about it, although I think she already knew.
You make it sound so sordid.
Well, isn't it? She's involved with a married man. Oh, I need to knock some sense into her.
Well, maybe Elwood and Eleanor have one of those open marriages.
If they do, someone failed to inform Eleanor.
This is terrible. Yeah, they could have just walked out together and gone their separate ways. Is Eleanor sure it's Grace?
Well, Eleanor used the term slut more often than Grace's name, but yes, she seems sure.
Does Grace know that Eleanor knows?
I told her I hadn't heard anyone's name.
I can't stay here anymore. I have to find Grace.
Yeah, I think this is best friend territory. I'm staying here and finishing the class.
Oh, Swisha stares at you if you leave early. I'm staying too.
I was just coming to find you.
What for? I was just on my way to check my mailbox.
I need to talk to you about this disaster.
What disaster?
Grace, people are talking about you.
Gossip about me? Oh, I'm not sure I care.
Well, apparently Eleanor does.
You spoke with Eleanor? What did she say?
No, not me. She spoke to Devorah. It was pretty predictable. She says that you've been, well, having a time with her husband. Grace, is that true? Has this no-strings business gotten you involved with Elwood?
I guess it was inevitable. I've gone out and had some fun these past few months with Frank gone. But it's not like that anymore. Elwood and I have fallen in love. I'm not proud of getting involved with a married man, I admit. You know me better than that to think I just fool around like that.
Forgive me, but before the love part, isn't fooling around exactly what you were doing?
No, Elwood and I have felt a connection for a long time now. We didn't act on it out of respect for Eleanor and for Frank when he was alive, but then, I don't know, something just clicked this past month, and it's wonderful.
What happened to all your talk about no strings and such? No strings attached, isn't that what you said? Sexual liberation or some such nonsense? This sounds like a garden variety affair to me, and you're just the other woman. I have to say, it sounds much like what you were doing, what Frank was doing to you.
Oh, that is a low blow.
Well, isn't it the same?
No. Eleanor's commitment and Elwood's commitment, that's their responsibility, not mine. I never blamed the women Frank was involved with. My anger was only for him.
Well, that seems a little like splitting hairs. Aren't we all responsible for each other? At least a little bit? It seems too convenient to turn a blind eye because your name isn't on the marriage license.
That's enough. I don't know how it happened. I can't explain it, and I don't think I need to you or to anyone.
Not even to Eleanor? There are lines, boundaries that should not be crossed. Grace, I'm sorry, but I can't support this.
Well, you won't have to for long. We're leaving.
You're what?
Leaving. Today. Elwood and Eleanor are fighting because he's leaving her, and we're starting our life together.
Have you lost your mind?
I'm sure it looks that way, but no. I think I have finally found it. I love Elwood, and he loves me, and we're going to be together.
Where are you going to go?
Elwood has gotten a lease on a little house over in Charlotte Acres for us.
You're moving away? Grace, I can't believe this. What will happen to Eleanor?
Elwood is working that out. They'll split their assets, I'm sure, but that is all down the road. For today, What I can say is that I am leaving with him, and tonight, and you can't tell anyone, Emily. No one. I'm serious. The gossips will have plenty to talk about once we're gone. But believe it or not, I care about Eleanor, and I don't want her hurt any more than necessary.
What about me?
You've got your mother to keep you busy, don't you?
Yes, but what I want is our Jeopardy nights and our coffee with the girls. This affair with Elwood is a terrible idea.
No, it's not, Emily. Except for my daughter, it's the best thing that's happened to me in my life. I'm happier than I ever imagined I could be. And truly, my dear, I think I've discovered joy for the first time.
I think you're deluded. This won't end well, Grace. Leaving is a terrible idea.
Oh, it breaks my heart to leave you. Our friendship has been so precious to me. But Charlotte Acres is only an hour away, and when the dust settles, I'll come visit.
Of course. We can visit.
I'm sorry. I have to continue packing. Promise me you won't tell anyone? Not even Devorah and Bee? I know they want what's best for me, but I think a quiet departure is what's best.
I don't think anything can be best in this situation. But I promise.
Thank you, my dear friend. Okay, I gotta go.
Scene 4, 4 p.m. Grace's house, which is in disarray. Grace is packing.
Who is it?
It's Devorah. I need to talk to you.
Okay, I've got a lot to do. Can I call you tomorrow?
I thought you weren't going to be here tomorrow.
Keep your voice down, for heaven's sake.
Okay. I don't think anybody heard me, but it won't matter in a few hours.
How did you hear about that?
I told you I hear things.
I'm gonna kill Emily.
I didn't hear anything from her. I don't think you have an appreciation for how news travels in this trailer park. Do you think you're the only one who knows about this plan?
I am the only one.
Except for Elwood and Eleanor.
Oh, whoa, yeah.
Oh,
Is Eleanor talking?
can you blame her?
Oh, I suppose not. I never wanted her to get hurt. You know, it's a silly thing, but I think I'd hoped that she'd be relieved. I mean, really, I know they've not had the best marriage lately. I would have been relieved that Frank was leaving me, I think.
Really, if Frank had shown up with another woman that he was leaving you for, you think you would have been relieved?
I don't know. Yes, probably. I mean, after about the first 10 years, my life was always better when he was away on a business trip. Although, I don't think he ever had to be away as much as he said, and, well, maybe his life was better away from me as well.
I don't buy that. None of us wants control of our lives taken out of our hands. Maybe if you had made your own plan to leave Frank, you'd felt some relief, but not if he left you.
You don't know what it was like, Devorah.
Horrible. Horrible arguments about insignificant things, long silences that hurt for a few years and then they felt like normal. Telling yourself you were better off not knowing. I know better than you think, Grace.
I thought you and Jason had a good life.
At the end we had a good life, but the path to it was no walk in the park. My greatest sorrow is that Jason died just as we were working out the worst of it.
Well, yes, it's those things you said. That's what it was like. I mean, I'm lucky, I know. Frank never yelled at me in anger or raised a hand to me or Jane?
Yes, you're lucky for that. We both are.
But that doesn't mean I wouldn't have welcomed the chance to get out of it.
Oh, no. If Frank left you, it would have felt like the last in a long string of insults. That's what Eleanor is feeling from Elwood, I suspect.
You may be right, but no, I can't worry about that.
What?
I have put my life on hold too long. I'm not letting this chance for happiness go by. Eleanor will be fine, I hope. She's got her grandkids.
Soon to be your grandkids, too.
What? Oh. I hadn't thought about that. Step-grandkids, I suppose.
What do you think Anastasia and Amy will think of that?
You know, I don't know. I'm not thinking about any of the grandkids just now. There's time to work all that out later.
I think Eleanor's thinking about it.
Well, she'll work it out. She'll see.
I'm sure it eventually will, but she's not letting go easily.
Oh, good heavens. How much have you talked with her today?
Eleanor and I are friends. She knows I'm your friend as well, but she needed someone she could talk to.
Good for her. I mean, everybody needs somebody to talk to.
Indeed. And your and Elwood's affair isn't all I heard from her.
Good heavens, what else?
I don't think it's my story to tell.
Devorah! You can't start something like that and then not tell me. Spill it.
Well, apparently Elwood has seen his doctor.
Well, so what? We all see doctors all the time.
Not for this we don't. At least I don't.
Don't say another word. I don't want to hear it.
Don't you think the whole story is important?
There is no whole story. Elwood and I are in love, and that is all that matters.
Really? I don't think I believe that even as a schoolgirl.
Well, it is all that matters. I've been denied a loving relationship my whole life. I will not let this pass me by this
Sometimes
time.
we just have to play the hand we're dealt. We find a way to be happy about it.
Play the hand I was dealt. Huh? A philandering husband. A man who had mistresses, one-night stands, even whores. You know, no thank you. Discarding wasn't an option, so I waited until I could draw another card. And now I have, and I intend to play that card. So, how's that?
Do you hear yourself? This is not a Lifetime movie of the week. Do you know what Elwood learned at the doctor today?
Nothing. I'm sure it was nothing. Elwood is fine.
He doesn't think he is. He's pretty scared. Elwood is HIV positive. You heard me. Elwood is HIV positive.
Elwood does not have AIDS. Oh, you're too much of a gossip, Devorah. Don't you say that.
I didn't say AIDS. I said HIV. It's a virus that causes AIDS.
I know,
you know
what HIV is. I watch the news too, but I don't believe it.
It's certainly easier not to believe me, but I don't think Eleanor would lie about this.
Eleanor told you about this? Oh. And how does she know? Elwood's doctor would have kept that private. How do you know she's not just making that up to bring a wedge between Elwood and me?
She didn't tell me about Elwood's HIV infection first. She told me about her own.
Eleanor is HIV positive?
Yes. She wasn't feeling well while she was visiting her kids, so she saw her gay son's doctor, who apparently checks HIV as a standard test. You do know what to think. You need to get yourself checked for HIV. If Elwood has it, oh, I'm so sorry for being indelicate here, but you two have been involved, so you might have it too.
You probably got it from Eleanor, don't you think? I mean, I wonder where she got it. I hear it can be caught from blood transfusions.
Grace, I can't believe I'm hearing this.
It must be it. I mean, she saw a gay doctor, and the gays are the ones who are getting HIV. I'm not sure they didn't cause it somehow. You know, it was really confusing back in the 90s.
You know that's not true. It was the monkeys that started it, they think, or something like that. I don't know.
It came from somewhere. Eleanor got it from somewhere and gave it to Elwood.
Unless Elwood gave it to her.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Elwood hasn't been fooling around.
How do you know? He was willing enough to step out on his marriage with you, and probably you are not the first.
Oh, I won't hear this. This is not as sordid as some trashy novel with betrayals and diseases.
Grace, you need to see your doctor.
Stop saying that.
There is a good chance you're infected, unless that is you've been using condoms.
I don't like this talk.
I can't believe it. You should get used to it if you're going to have an open sex life.
No, of course, we did not use anything like that. Why should we need to? No one was getting pregnant. And besides, who cares? Sure, I'll see my doctor. Why not? It won't make any difference.
It won't make any difference.
No.
If you're infected with a life-threatening virus, that won't make any difference.
Why would why would it make a difference? I saw a special on TV. People with HIV are living normal lives. They just take a pill or some pills. I can't remember. A cocktail, I think I heard them say.
Yes. And people take pills to keep from getting diseases. This particular disease is one I suspect you don't want.
So maybe I'll have to take some pills. So what? I take a fistful of pills every day for things that killed my grandparents. We all do. Add another pill to the pile. Life goes on.
This is not the same as all those other problems.
Isn't it? You know, my doctor told me 20 years ago that if I didn't lose weight, I'd make myself diabetic. I knew the risks, but going out to eat was one of the things Frank and I still enjoyed. So I made poor decisions when I knew better, and lucky me, forgiveness came in the form of a tiny white pill.
A few too many slices of pie isn't the same as contracting a sexually transmitted disease.
I think it is. We're so prudish. I mean, for most people, sex is part of life, and frankly, if people had more sex instead of having more pie, maybe we wouldn't have so many fat people.
Do you realize people die from this? Really? I mean, those pills aren't a cure.
Of course people die. We're all going to die. Isn't that why we're here? To live out our last days separated from the rest of the world so our children won't have to watch us expire?
Well, I'm here for the weather and the all-you-can-eat buffets. And to get in as many years as I can.
I thought you were being serious.
I don't know, I am. I make the best jokes at the worst times. I'm not joking now. Please get yourself checked.
Okay, maybe after we get settled in Charlotte Acres. I mean, I've got an appointment next week for a checkup. Oh, that reminds me. I've got to remember to get a new doctor over there. Somewhere around here I've got a notepad with things I've got to do when I get settled. I'll get a new doctor, although I think I can keep my same dentist because he's just about halfway between here and
I don't think you should wait, Grace. I really don't. I think maybe you should head over to the clinic and think about whether today is the best day to leave with Elwood, given this new information.
No, I won't wait. I told you. I've got packing to do, and Elwood and I are leaving. This is terrible news, and I'm sorry for Eleanor, but this doesn't change anything. I think you need to go so I can pack.
Only for Eleanor?
What do you mean?
You're only sorry for Eleanor, not Elwood.
Elwood and I are going to be fine. I'll help him with the new pills. I'm sure I'll be helping him with whatever pills he's already taking. This will be easy.
I wish I could talk some sense into you.
Well, I don't need your help. Be a friend to Eleanor after today. That's where you're needed.
Scene 5 p.m. by the pool in the shade.
I need to talk with you.
Hold on, I'm almost done here.
What are you doing?
Hold on.
Beatrice, I need to talk with you.
Fine. I was failing pretty miserably anyway.
What were you doing?
Oh, the art magazine has a quiz this month. Is your smartphone smarter than you?
Huh? How'd you do?
I'm not sure. I don't understand the questions.
God.
Oh, well, computers are going to take over someday anyway. Might as well be today. What's so urgent?
It's Grace. She's leaving.
Leaving what or whom?
Us. This. She's leaving Silver Springs with Elwood.
She's leaving with Elwood?
When did this happen?
Apparently some time ago. The two of them have been planning, and today's the day.
She's leaving today?
Yeah, they've got a house in Charlotte Acres. Elwood's breaking the news to Eleanor right now.
Charlotte Acres? Isn't that the place that had that alligator on the golf course last month?
Which of these trumped-up trailer parks hasn't had a local alligator?
Alligators everywhere, I guess. Okay. Grace and Elwood are leaving. Well, that'll be the scandal of the day for 3 or 4 months at least, I'm thinking. So what's the urgent need?
We have to do something.
Why?
Are you kidding? This is a disaster, and we're Grace's friends. We owe her our help.
Does she want our help?
Well, she didn't say so precisely.
What did she say precisely?
Precisely, she wants us to be happy for her newfound love.
That seems like the best option. I'll go for that.
Beatrice!
Well, Devorah, I'm sorry. There's nothing to be done by us here. I mean, any damage that has been done, any damage that can be done has been done. I mean, do you believe that if we talk to Grace and we tell her that she shouldn't go, that everything will be okay?
I think it's a start.
Well, it won't. There'll be months of gossip and speculation. Widows will be ostracized more than usual for a while. Then the snowbirds will go home, and next January we'll start the cycle all over again.
What do you mean widows will be ostracized?
How often have you been invited to dinner by couples?
I don't know. I spent a lot of time with lots of friends in this community.
Yeah, but couples. How often are you invited anywhere with a couple?
I don't know. How is this relevant?
Because it's the law of this particular jungle. Married women guard their husbands against the herds of eager widows roaming the streets. Every time a man hangs a loofah from his rear view, the blame falls squarely on the woman he pursues.
You're saying that a woman like Grace who gets involved with a married man shouldn't be held responsible?
No, that is not what I'm saying. But I am saying that I have lived single in this community for more than 10 years, and women like Eleanor Martin conveniently ignore the loofah hanging from their own husband's rear view, but they can't be bothered to give me the time of day. So I'm reluctant to go far out of my way to preserve their sacred marriages.
Beatrice.
Think about it. How often did we see Grace before Frank died?
Well, we saw Grace all the time before Frank died.
Compared to now?
She has more time on her hands now. That's why we see her more.
I know what I know. And it's not because she has more time on her hands. I love Grace dearly, but when Frank was alive, she avoided single people as much as any other couple does.
I'm not sure.
Well, I am. The couples in this community treat single women either like outcasts or predators. I'm frankly a little happy to see their perfect lives turned over a little. Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't wish ill will on Eleanor or Elwood, but they've not gone out of their way to worry about me.
Yes, I can see how couples stick together, but Beatrice, that was the case long before I moved here. Jason and I had single friends, but our lives, I don't know, they just, they fit better with friends who were married. It wasn't that I feared my single woman friends being around Jason.
Yeah, maybe not then. But as we get nearer to the grave, I think we cling closer to the things we can't take with us. Like Eleanor holding on to her useless husband.
Okay, don't do it for Eleanor. Do it for Grace.
I told you, Grace is fine. She and Elwood will work it out, or they won't. I'll be here for her either way, but I won't stop her from living her life.
There are extenuating circumstances here, and I don't think we can ignore.
Such as what?
Such as Elwood being HIV positive and infecting Eleanor with HIV as well.
What? Oh, that's terrible. How do you know this?
I spoke with Eleanor and she told me.
Damn it. Well, this does change things. What about Grace?
That's what I'm talking about. Grace refuses to get herself checked out.
Well, she should have herself checked. That does seem important.
Yes, it's important. More important than choosing to go off with Elwood when he's just found out his own HIV status, and Grace doesn't know hers.
And Eleanor, too.
Yes, Eleanor said she tested positive,
Oh, goddamn Elwood for not being more responsible.
too. There will hopefully be time to be angry with Elwood later, but right now, how do we get Grace to postpone this decision?
Okay, fine. I agree that something should be done, but I think it's out of our hands at this point.
Not much I can do. Grace listens to you. She respects you, and you didn't jump all over her for wearing the same blouse like Emily and I did. You can convince her to wait.
But wait for what? I mean, convince her to wait so she can get herself tested for HIV while Eleanor and Elwood remain in their house together but separated?
Yes, that's exactly it. Who cares what the Martins do while Grace is finding out whether she has a life-threatening infection? Shouldn't her health take precedence over everything?
I don't know. Should it?
Beatrice Stewart, have you lost your mind? What is more important than her health?
Well, what about her happiness?
Oh, good heavens, you too in your pursuit of happiness.
Well, why shouldn't Grace be happy? And Elwood, for that matter. I mean, why shouldn't Elwood be happy? What good is health if we're miserable?
You're talking about Emily now.
No, I'm not talking about Emily. I'm talking about all of us.
It bothers you that Emily hasn't had a husband or a family.
Yes, I have been critical of Emily. But maybe she has the life she's supposed to have.
What the heck does that mean?
It means that maybe there's no difference between thinking you're happy and being happy. I mean, Emily believes she's happy with her life, so who am I to tell her she's missing something?
Yeah, this is a turnaround. Since when are you okay with Emily missing out on the kind of robust sex life you've had?
Let's not be mean, Devorah. I have not been so judgmental as all that.
I just call it as I hear it, and I've heard you go after Emily's chastity like a terrier after a rat.
Well, sometimes even old terriers can learn a new lesson. And it makes me think that maybe Grace's happiness is hers. And it's not for us to judge how she gets there.
Well, that's just 21st century thinking. Huh? Yeah, everyone gets to define their own happiness. Is that it?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it's for all of us to find our path.
And what's Eleanor's path? If she's the one you're giving advice to, do you tell her that this is Elwood's path and there isn't anything she can do?
Well, that complicates it a little, I suppose.
Well, you suppose. I understand everyone gets to have their own path of happiness, but there are other people to consider. Right now, Grace is ignoring anyone else's life in favor of her own. I don't even see her too worried about Elwood's diagnosis.
So what can we do? I mean, they're leaving today, aren't they? Elwood and Eleanor are splitting up, and Grace is packing. I don't see what we can do.
Well, what we can do is talk some sense into Grace. Get her to wait until she talks to a doctor. Not just about her own status, but what it means to be involved with someone who has HIV, even if she doesn't.
All right. I'm not sure she'll listen, but I'm willing to try. Good.
Scene 6, 6 p.m. Hello?
Jane, this is Beatrice Stewart.
Hi, Mrs. Stewart. Is everything okay?
Oh, please call me B, dear. Look, things have heated up here for sure. Your mother is planning to leave today.
Leaving? Where is she going?
Well, apparently she and Elwood have plans to elope together. And I know you're on your way here already, but I wanted you to be ready for what you're walking into.
Hell, I appreciate the heads up, B. Have you talked to her? Is there any point in trying to talk some sense into her?
No, I'm afraid all of us have talked to her today, but your mom has dug her heels in.
I know that side of her. I think I actually inherited that from her.
Well, that's not always a bad thing. But I think your mom has grown tired of her friends trying to talk her out of this.
I can appreciate that. You've all done so much for her.
Well, we love your mom. Worrying about her is literally the least we can do. I wish we could convince her to abandon this crazy plan.
All of this seems so out of character for her. I don't know what to think.
Yeah. Well, there's something more that you should know. Mr. Martin, Elwood, that is, he's turned up HIV positive. Now, our focus today has been to get your mom to get herself checked out in case she's caught it.
Isn't all that great in the car? Did you say that Mr. Martin found out that he's HIV positive?
Yes, dear. That's right. It's a horrible thing for the Martins. And I'm just worried your mom won't get herself checked out.
I appreciate your help so much, Mrs. Stewart. I have a few more calls to make, I think.
Okay. Well, now don't get yourself all upset while you're driving. Be sure to pull over. Now, that's what they keep telling us.
I definitely will. I'm in Georgia now, and I expect to be in Silver Springs at about 11 p.m. tonight. My best advice is not to try to talk to Mom anymore and try to convince her not to do this. We can all help best by being a united front.
I agree, dear. I'm sorry for it, but I think we've done all we can at this point.
Thank you for everything, Mrs. Stewart. I'll see you in a few hours.
Scene 7, 11 p.m. at the coffee shop. The stores have long since closed and the streets are empty.
Scene 8, midnight at the coffee shop.
I'm a fool.
No.
Yes, I am. You try to tell me.
You had hope. There are worse things.
Yes, and it certainly turned out well.
When was he supposed to be here?
An hour ago.
Maybe he's still coming. Have you tried to call?
His cell goes right to voicemail.
Home number?
I called about 15 minutes ago.
And?
I spoke to Eleanor.
Ooh, how was that?
Oh, horrible. Oh, God, it was so horrible.
Was she cruel?
Not at all.
Well, you said it yourself. Elwood is the one with the commitment to her, not you.
I did say that, didn't I? Oh, boy. That was certainly convenient.
How so?
As long as I didn't have to think too much about Eleanor, she was a complication that didn't exist. Listen to me. A complication? I am thinking of Elwood's wife, my friend, as a complication.
How should you think of her?
Not as a complication, but as Elwood's wife. Thank you for not throwing this in my face.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. You know that.
I know, and I don't deserve it.
Oh, come on, give yourself a break. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we make mistakes, but is that what this is, Em?
Of course. What else?
How did you two know that I would be here?
Eleanor.
Oh.
Honey, how are you?
I'm fine. I'll be fine. Oh, hell, I don't know.
When was he supposed to be here?
11.
Did you call him?
Eleanor answered the phone.
Why?
You're not responsible for her anger.
Well, not entirely.
She wasn't angry.
How is that possible?
I'm not sure. I was ready for anger. I had my defenses all worked up.
What did she say?
She laughed at me.
She what?
Has she gone a little, off?
No, Eleanor hasn't lost it. Has she, Grace?
No.
What are you two talking about?
This wasn't the first time.
For what?
I feel like this is Grace's story to tell.
Honey?
Well, this wasn't the first time Elwood has fallen in love and made plans to leave Eleanor for another woman.
Are you kidding?
As it turns out, no.
According to Eleanor, as he's gotten older, it's apparently gotten worse.
This is something that gets worse? This falling in love with other women and then dumping them?
It is for Elwood. He flirts, has secret trysts, makes plans to leave, and then confesses everything to Eleanor, begging forgiveness.
And she forgives him.
So far.
How many times are we talking about here?
I'm lucky number 7.
7 times? 7 times he has cheated on his wife, led another woman to believe he was running away with her, and then confessed everything to his wife so he could stay with her? B, I am beginning to see what I'm missing out by not being there.
He didn't lead me on. I did this.
Being caught in the lies of a con man is nothing to be ashamed of.
I barely had to lie. I wanted it so badly to believe that this was real, that I would have told myself the lie if he hadn't. I mean, maybe I did.
Oh, there are worse things than to hope for love.
No, and Emily said the same thing.
Smart woman. You should listen to her.
What will you do now?
Is spontaneous combustion an option?
Probably not, but I understand the desire for it.
Then I have no idea.
Mom, here you are. I've been waiting at your house for an hour.
Jane, what in the world are you doing here?
I am trying to find out what the hell is going on. Why haven't you answered my calls?
Did you call? Oh, I can't work that darn phone. I'm sorry I missed your calls, sweetheart.
I just took a magazine quiz about how our phones are smarter than us. It's true.
That's right.
Mom, I've been leaving you messages for 3 months.
Well, I've been grieving. I needed some space.
I figured you needed space, so I just left messages. I wish you had listened to them.
What did they say?
That I loved you, that I miss Dad, and I wanted to talk to you about it, that I needed my mom.
I'm sorry. I looked on Facebook and I knew you were okay. I mean, busy as usual. I mean, I could see everything was fine. You seemed to be handling your grief pretty well.
Because my life looked okay on Facebook. That's not the place I'm going to look to for support, Mom. But I'm lucky I have Mark and the girls, so it's not me we're talking about here.
I've been fine. It's been an adjustment, but I have good friends here, and I'm sorry you worried and felt you should drive all the way here, but right now is a bad moment. So, can we talk tomorrow? I assume you're settled into the guest room. I can be home shortly.
Did you know that you missed Anastasia's birthday last week?
Did I? Oh, Janie, I'm so sorry. I thought it was next month. I'm not getting many things right these days, am I? I hope that's not why you came all the way here. Did you bring the girls with you?
No, they're at home with Mark. I didn't have time to organize a big visit, so I drove alone.
Oh, that is too far to drive in one day. Where did you stop? In Georgia?
No, Mom, I am not going to talk about the drive. What the hell is going on?
I'm living my life, Jane. Badly, as it turns out, but it is my life nonetheless.
Jane, your mom just got dumped. Maybe you should go easy on her.
Dumped.
I don't suppose it matters if you know. I was supposed to leave Silver Springs tonight with Elwood Martin.
Not surprised. I spoke with Mrs. Martin yesterday.
Eleanor Martin called you? How did she get your number?
I mentioned she looked it up online or something. I met her and Mr. Martin at my dad's funeral.
A phone call from Eleanor Martin made you drive from Michigan to Florida?
I spoke with Mrs. Martin, and yes, her phone call caused sufficient alarm to get me on the road. Mother, do you want to explain your concerns to your friends?
Not sure what you think you know, but I will not be scolded by you. Jane, everything is in control. Let's call it a night, shall we?
That is not what Mrs. Martin said.
I'm offended that you are in my personal space like this. Elwood told me just yesterday that he loved me. I am not sure what to think about what's happening, but I believe that Elwood loves me still.
Oh, Grace, you can't still believe that Elwood is coming.
No, I don't think so, but I won't have this become a story of a love-struck widow and a crazy old man.
No one thinks that.
Some people will.
What I know is that I love him, and he loves me, and we were going to leave together.
In the middle of the night.
Well, we were hoping to avoid making a scene. As it turns out, I made one anyway.
It could be argued the scene's been played out all day.
I don't think that's helping.
Your mom made the horrible, horrible mistake of falling in love. We should all make similar mistakes.
Thank you. Everyone, it's the middle of the night. We should just all go home, and this will look much less dire in the morning. Jane's been driving all day, and I'm sure she's exhausted.
We're just trying to help you.
Well, you can help in the morning. Let's go home, honey.
Actually, we're leaving, Mom.
What?
Right now, you and I are leaving. We're staying in a hotel a few miles away, and then we're going to get an early start.
You're crazy. I am not going anywhere.
Mr. Martin is HIV positive. Did you know that?
Jane, that is private information, and you shouldn't be talking about it publicly. I can't believe Elwood told you that.
It wasn't Mr. Martin who told me. It was Beatrice. She probably should know what I was getting myself into.
Have you been talking behind my back?
Look, we only had your health and your best interests in mind. Grace, I felt we had to do something, and I thought Jane should know.
You knew Jane was coming?
I did. I'm sorry. I'm worried about you.
Well, this is just fine. You're thousands of miles away talking with my friends and neighbors to make decisions about my life.
My conversations with Bea and Mrs. Martin are more concerning to you than having a sexually transmitted disease and an affair with Mr.
I'm
Martin.
sorry, but I'm not sure why you think it's important that everyone here know my personal business. I didn't raise you that way.
No, you didn't. You and Dad raised me to take responsibility for my actions, so it is no wonder I am looking for you to do the same.
Yes, you're responsible father. Your perfect father who was screwing anything he could get his hands on.
Dad wasn't faithful. I'm sorry. That's shameful, Mom. But I know he loved you. And I know he loved Mary Ellen. For more than 20 years, whatever else he did, he loved her too.
Who?
Mary Ellen, the other woman Dad was in love with.
You know about her? You met her?
I have met her. I spent time with her. I like her. I've also met her son, my brother. half brother, I guess.
So what? She's a better mother than me? Is that what you
No, I don't think she's saying that.
Of course not. Mary Ellen is very nice, but she is not my mom. She is not who I needed to talk to about my dad's death. After we buried him, he betrayed you, and I am so sorry about that, but he was my dad, and I miss him.
Well, of course you do.
But right now, we need to get on the road. Glad you're packed. Let's go.
I'm not going anywhere, Jane. Go home. I want you to go home.
Not without you.
Now, Jane, I mean, maybe this is a little hasty. I mean, this is Grace's home now, and we're looking out for her.
I appreciate all of you being such good friends of my mother's, but I am afraid she hasn't been honest with you. Or with Mr. Martin, which is more important.
What does she mean?
It doesn't matter. It's no one's business. I'm not standing here for this. I'm going home.
You haven't been taking calls from Dr. Craig's office? Patricia from Dr. Craig's office called because she couldn't find you.
It's my private business. I'll have that quack's license.
That quack was your friend and your doctor for more than 30 years.
I don't care. Patricia's crossed the line. I will sue her.
She said the pharmacy has been mailing your prescriptions every month for the past 6 months, but now 3 months ago, they started being returned after someone wrote refused on them. Patricia thought you must have moved and forgotten to tell them.
It's none of her business. She's a terrible busybody and thinks she can just muck about at other people's business.
She had the right address. Why have you been sending back your medication?
What medication? I thought you got all your medications from your doctor here.
I do. I was getting a vitamin pill from Dr. Craig, and when I didn't need it anymore, I stopped accepting the packages.
It wasn't a vitamin. It's a medication called Truvada. Mother, do you want to tell your friends, these women who have looked out for you and defended you?
Jane, this is starting to feel a little bit like a witch hunt. Why are you hounding your mother like this?
Yes, Jane. This is unseemly. I insist that we go home and deal with all of this in the morning.
What if the Martins learn everything and decide to press charges?
Is that possible?
It might be. God, don't recommend you wait until the morning to find out. What you've done might be against the law.
This is so ominous sounding. What are we talking about?
Nothing. Nothing at all. We'll work it out in the morning. Jane, let's go. Girls, I'll call you from the hotel in the morning.
Okay, yeah.
What the hell was all of that?
I have no idea. All of a sudden, Jane was talking about the law?
Did you hear the name of that medication?
What?
Well, the medication Grace was refusing. Did you hear the name?
Oh, it was something started with True?
Oh, I thought so. Truvada.
What is this medication? You know it? What's it for?
It's a treatment for HIV infection.
C9, Silver Springs, 6 months earlier. It's at my dad's funeral, and it's August, and the air conditioning is not keeping up with the heat. How you doing, Mom?
I'm fine, honey. Thanks for checking on me. I'll be fine.
Can't believe how strong you're being for everyone. It's just like you, Mom, looking out for everyone else.
Well, that's what a mother does, I guess. Where have you been?
Oh, I was talking with one of your neighbors, Mr. Martin, I think?
Elwood. Yeah. He and his wife have been good to me these past weeks since your father got sick.
His wife said hello while Mr. Martin and I were talking. I don't remember her name.
Eleanor? Yeah, she makes a mean lasagna. It has cottage cheese in it instead of the other Italian one. You know, she says it's the same as cottage cheese, and it's so much cheaper. She gets it off brand. Quite a lasagna. Cheesy, but not too cheesy.
It's ricotta.
What, dear?
The cheese that's supposed to go in lasagna is ricotta, and I'm sure it tastes much better than cottage cheese.
Of course, dear.
Oh, hell. I'm sorry. Don't mean to pick at you today of all days.
It's okay, sweetheart. You're a good girl. And I'm glad you're here. I know getting time off work is difficult, and your job is important.
It's not like I would miss my dad's funeral, Mother.
Of course not, Jane.
I know today is a tough day, but I need to talk to you before I go home tomorrow.
Yes, dear. A tough day indeed. What do you need to talk about?
Don't worry, it can wait until tomorrow, but I wanted to be sure that we get a few minutes before then.
What is it? We're stuck here till visiting hours are over, and I have talked to as many neighbors as I can stomach for one day. I swear, all these retired people with nothing else to do but be in each other's business wears me out some days.
I thought you loved it here.
Oh, it's fine. I'm just not feeling charitable today. I'm sorry. What's on your mind?
Well, I was wondering what's next.
For who?
For you. What are you going to do now?
What do you mean I'm gonna go home?
Oh, thank God. That's great. Mom, I definitely think that is the best thing, to just come home.
Wait, come home? Do you mean back to Rochester Hills?
Oh, yes, that is home, isn't it?
No, not for me, it isn't. My home is here in Silver Springs, you know that. Your dad and me sold the house when we came here 8 years ago. There is no home for me in Rochester Hills anymore.
But I'm there and your granddaughters are there. Don't you want to be there to see Amy and Anastasia grow up? It'll just be better for everyone if you just came home.
I'm not sure it would be better for me. I miss you, and I do miss those girls, but this is my home now. I know it's a burden for you
Mom,
guys
no,
to
it is
come here
not
and
a
visit
burden,
me,
Mark. And I love leaving Michigan to come to Florida once or twice a year. But the girls, well, they're getting older, and it's tougher to bring the whole family. Besides, you're not getting any younger. Who's here to take care of you now that Dad's gone?
Are you under the impression that your father was taking care of me?
No, Mom, that is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that being on your own is not easy for anyone who's older.
Old. Old is correct. And I'm still not moving back to Rochester Hills.
But Mom, what if you fall, or what if you get sick?
So what if I do? There are doctors here, just like there. Do you want me to sit around in a dark apartment during another Michigan winter, waiting to be struck down by some terminal illness? I have come to love sunshine in January. You won't catch me dead back in that snow and gloom.
Well, what about the springtime? Oh, you always loved gardening. Think about having your hands dug down into a garden again.
I always hated gardening. But it was the only thing I could do outside every now and then. Before I had that garden, you know, I used to try to sit outside once or twice on a nice day, but your goddamn father would have no idle hands in his house. You know, that rule wasn't just for you kids.
I know, Dad could be difficult like that, but your life can be whatever you want it to be. No gardening.
My life is what I want it to be. I'm here with other people my age. We think alike, and I like that.
What does that mean?
Well, just that we grew up in the same time and remember the same things, and I've come to enjoy people who understand me.
Don't I understand you?
Oh, of course, honey. I didn't mean you. Look, everything is good here. I'm healthy as a horse.
Look how Dad's death came so suddenly. What if something like that happens to you?
You could drive yourself crazy with what ifs. The world is an uncertain place.
I'm just saying that I just lost my dad. I cannot possibly lose you.
And is he really that much of a loss?
What?
Nothing, I'm sorry. It's nothing. Dr. Craig told me that being angry with someone who's passed is to be expected even under normal circumstances.
Is Dr. Craig here? I haven't seen him since I was a kid.
He and Patricia were here earlier. I think they've left. He's retired, and he insisted on coming to the hospital when your father was admitted after the heart attack.
Daddy was admitted? I'm sorry, Mom. I thought you said he died suddenly.
He was in a coma, and they admitted him, and he didn't wake up, so it's all the same.
I wish I had been able to see him before he died.
He wasn't the dad you knew. You're better with the memories that you had instead of those in the last couple of days.
Are these not normal circumstances?
What?
You said, Dr. Craig said being angry was normal under normal circumstances.
Oh, I don't know what I was talking about. I go through waves of anger for your dad.
Is that why you said he wasn't much of a loss?
Probably. I don't know, sweetheart. There's a lot to process.
Can imagine. God, no, I can't. I can't even imagine what it's like to process living alone after all this time.
Oh. You know, it isn't bad. Just, your father and I didn't have the easiest relationship. You must know that.
Oh, I know.
It didn't get any easier after we moved here. He and I both had our separate friends, although we did things with other couples. I don't mean to imply that we were strangers to each other. I mean, after so much time, there's a comfort. Yeah. There's a comfort to being together. And I'll miss that. I miss that already. But I'm looking forward to some time alone. I won't lie.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry I wasn't more of a shoulder for you.
It's okay. It never affected how we felt about you. It just affected how we treated each other.
Mom. Oh my God, Mom, did Dad hit you?
No. Oh, for heaven's sakes, he wasn't around enough for that.
Well, that's not really reassuring. Well, I guess I'm glad things never got to that level.
He cheated a lot, but no, he never hit me.
Cheated? Like with another woman?
Countless, as far as I know.
How did you find out?
Oh, it was there if I chose to look closely enough. You're not married 50 years without looking the other way once or twice. I just know that not all his business trips were paid for by his company.
It must have been hard for you, Mom. I'm sorry. Did you ever try to talk to him about it?
Well, there wasn't anything to be gained but a messy divorce. And I didn't want to put any of us through that, so I looked the other way, thinking he'd outgrow it eventually.
Did he?
No, he did not. And you wouldn't believe the excuses he came up with to leave me here while he gallivanted around the country. A golf show in Indiana, because there aren't enough old men talking about golf on this block than in the whole of Indianapolis.
I don't know what I thought, Mom, but I didn't think about how much Daddy's traveling must have hurt you.
Oh, Janie, I'm sorry. I'm rambling on about your dad, who's just in the other room in a casket. I know you loved your father, and he loved you so much. He was so proud of you. And Aunt Anastasia and Amy, they were just a bright light in his eyes. Please forget what I said. Today should be about remembering the good things.
It's okay, Mom. I know. Oh, I knew Daddy pretty well. As you say, it was tough not to notice some things. But he was a good dad, and I miss him just worried about you getting sick or having something happen while you're so far away.
Don't worry, Jane. I'll be okay for a while at least.
What is that supposed to mean?
I wasn't going to tell you this, but I've talked about his affairs, and it seems like maybe you knew your dad better than I thought.
What? Tell me what?
Do you know about HIV?
What?
HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus, the virus that causes AIDS. What do you know? I mean, I only ask because I've been doing a lot of reading lately.
Why have you been reading about AIDS?
God. It's nothing a daughter should have to find out at her father's funeral. I don't know why I'm so angry. I could have had a much worse life than the one I spent with him.
What do you mean, Mom? Do you want me to get Pastor Dave?
Oh, Lord, no. He is sweet and he gives a good sermon, but he's 12.
Mom? Did Dad have AIDS?
No, Jade, your father did not have AIDS, but he was HIV positive.
Oh, shit! Are you kidding me? How is that even possible? Wait, was Dad gay?
No, he wasn't gay. Seriously, sweetheart, you should read a magazine sometime. HIV isn't a gay disease.
I know. I'm sorry. Just caught me off guard. HIV positive? Just God, how does that happen? Now I know. Is that how he died?
Dr. Craig thinks your father's heart attack was complicated by his HIV infection, yes. And they don't know how all the different medications interact or what HIV's effect on the heart is, but, well, at least that's what they told me in the hospital.
How long had he had it?
Years, apparently. Although there wasn't anywhere in his medical record, so if he was still alive, he'd be as shocked as you are.
How is that possible? He has lots of physicals in the past few years, and how do they not detect that?
Well, it turns out that testing a happily married senior citizen for HIV is not common practice. And like so many things, if you don't go looking for it, it's easy to miss.
Okay, Mom, I'm having a hard time believing any of this. Is Dr. Craig sure? I'm surprised also that he told you. Isn't that sort of thing private?
Dr. Craig told me what I need to know for my own health.
Mom, do you have HIV?
Shh, honey, stop yelling. God, you were at your father's funeral, for heaven's sake.
Scene 10, present day, the morning after Grace and Jane have left. Emily,
Beatrice.
and Devorah are at the coffee shop. Thank God.
Oh, I don't know why I never get any better at this game.
Winning isn't everything.
Easily said when you're losing.
I think this more is the time before I win rather than the time I'm losing.
Whatever gets you through.
Does anyone need coffee?
Aren't we going to talk about it?
Talk about what?
You know what?
Yes, I suppose I do.
I haven't heard from them yet this morning, and I'm not sure if I will.
Grace may be too embarrassed.
That seems like an appropriate reaction.
Well, I won't judge her.
You didn't have any hesitation yesterday.
Yes, well, maybe I realized it's easier to be judgmental than it is to be sympathetic.
Well, I don't mind saying that I feel a little betrayed.
By Grace? What did she betray?
I was on her side. I mean, I thought she deserved to live her own life on her own terms.
Well, and so she does.
Yeah, but the collateral damage seems a little extensive. She was HIV positive all this time.
It does seem that the choices that were good for Grace weren't so good for other people.
Elwood?
Eleanor.
And even Grace herself. I don't think she was helping herself. Even though the idea of living her own life seemed a good one.
Well, you get no argument from me. I've eaten a big helping of crow already this morning.
Don't be too hard on yourself. You stood up for your friend.
Our friend.
Yes, I suppose I did. Devorah, how did you know?
About what?
About that medication.
Oh, Eleanor's son is HIV positive and taking Truvada. So she told me about it, and then I did some reading on my own.
Her son, too? Oh. And now she and Elle would have it. Oh, that's just cruel.
Well, the son is healthy by all accounts, but on medication. Maybe medication will work for Eleanor and Elwood, since it's what Grace was taking.
Could Eleanor really have pressed charges?
It's possible. In some cases, including Florida, it can be illegal to knowingly expose someone to something like HIV.
Well, I don't believe Grace had any malice in her heart.
I'm not sure a judge weighs that too heavily.
I'm so sorry for her. I still think she was making a last reach for a better life.
Maybe we all are.
That's deep. I think that's Jewish.
It probably is.
What will you do without your Jeopardy partner?
Oh, I'm sure I'll get through.
I've been known to have some skill at trivia.
Really? Well, it's much more than just trivia.
Isn't that precisely what it is?
No, there's a finesse to winning Jeopardy. B, you should come over this Tuesday and watch with Mother and me. We make a fun evening of it.
That sounds delightful. I think I will.
All right, come on, ladies. Let's keep the cards moving, please. I'm meeting Eleanor for brunch at that new place by the golf course.
Oh, I'm glad you're there for her, Devorah.
Of course. I mean, we got to look out for each other, don't we?